Hey, and welcome back to the podcast. We are here with John Roman from BattlBox.com. That's BATTLBOX. And John has so many amazing stories and amazing history in his business. He is in the e-commerce arena. He has a company called BattlBox, which he grew exponentially, and they were acquired and he bought them back. And just before this interview, John, I saw that you have this Netflix show, and I dialed it up, and it was like the craziest trailer for anything I'd ever seen. So I'd love to hear about that. But enough from me. Can you tell us who you are and what's the quick summary of what you're all about?
Sure. Thanks for having me. So John Roman, BattlBox is the company. It's outdoor adventure gear. The majority of our revenue is subscription based. We send out a box each month. We call it a mission. And we've been doing it since 2015. You touched on we got acquired in October of 2021. And as of 3 or 4 weeks ago, we bought the business back. So it's been a journey from the days of acquiring customers for $5 a piece and not knowing what a gold mine we had in 2015, 2016 to now post iOS and all the challenges and different approaches we have to take in today's day.
And what do you think you've done that others have failed at? Like, what's your secret sauce?
So the secret sauce is, it's not necessarily a secret, but it is hard to execute, and it's community. So building that community, building the fanatics, right? The people that love your brand, and building it where it can stand on its own without you per se. We've done a really good job of doing that. A lot of it's been done through content. So we've probably for the past, I guess 7 years now, we've been very, very, very focused on putting out lots and lots of content. It's what led to the Netflix show. But you get some community from that, but also just engaging with our customers the way we do. It's like they're part of our family, and it's kind of unusual for a business that's our size at this point to still be so engaged with every single customer. I spent an hour this morning, and I was in our members only group. It's a Facebook group where if you're a paying subscriber, you can be a member of. We don't have all of our customers in there, but we have about, I think, 8,200 customers in there, and just interacting with them in the comments and posting stuff. And it really just, you can't fake that. It's real. And I think customers are smart, and they understand that. And I think, you look at kind of the need want scale, right? You could argue there's probably some of our customers that could argue that the gear we send, the adventure, the camping, the survival gear that we send, maybe it is farther along on the scale, and it is for some people in the need category. But the reality is, for the majority of our customers, this is on the want side, right? And consumers, when they're making, those decisions for stuff that they want with disposable income, at this point, they really want to buy from a brand they can connect with, and they can relate to, and they like, and it's more than just the product. I think it's a really long answer, but I think we've done a really good job at executing that plan.
And it's cool to think about, because when you figure, okay, you could, especially with e-commerce, you can just like find a supplier, source any product. There's so many choices of what your offer can be. And then you think, okay, well, I want to put out something that they can't live without, that's an essential. But then there's all these hobbyists where if you can find the fanatics and have them connect with it emotionally, and it's this whole like intangible kind of just bigger than what it is. And there's the community and the brand and all those kind of intangible things, then that's something special. And that overcomes being like the first thing they cancel when they're looking to cut their budget. And so you're mentioning that a lot of with your success is by like putting forth that time into keeping the community going and to replying and to making it fun. And so just to give us an idea of what's like in a typical BattlBox, like if someone gets this box in the mail, like what are they paying for it and what kind of things are they seeing inside?
Sure. So I'll I'll cheat and I'll just outline. So on our website, we have a what's in the box section where we've outlined the 99 boxes we've sent thus far. So there's 4 tiers. There's the basic, the advanced, the pro, and the pro plus. 35 a month, 65 a month, 120 a month, and 170 a month. The majority, not the majority, but 45% of our base is in the higher pro plus. And what they do is they stack on top of each other. So if you get the pro, you're getting everything from the basic and the advanced, and then the pro plus, it's everything. So as an example, in the last box that shipped last month, on the basic level, there was a camping tripod. There's a bleed stop. It's if like you're out in the wild and you have maybe a bleed, you can put this on it to stop it. Some twist ties, a pouch that you can store stuff in. On the advanced level, there was a pocket knife. On the pro level, there was Bushnell puts this out. It's a trail camera, so it can connect to wireless service, whether it's Verizon, AT&T, and you can put it on a tree. And there's the practical use like for hunters like that. But then there's the practical use. Maybe I just want to have a camera outside to catch the woods or just to catch maybe my backyard. So that was a big hit. And then the Pro Plus, it's always a high-end premium knife. So we sent exactly that.
Well, fun. And so you have this this sort of subscription box, and you also from, like I said, when I was looking you up, I found this TV show Southern Survival, and there was this trailer where like people were like shooting guns into glass and flipping cars, and some guy had like a full-on bear suit. And so it seemed to me from that first impression that it was sort of like a Mythbusters meets Shark Tank, where like they were kind of demoing all these products, but like in all these fun and crazy ways. So can you tell me about what this TV show is all about?
Sure. So Southern Survival is the TV show. It is a Netflix original, which allowed for some of the cool stuff you have because it was Netflix budget, footing the bill. So the commercial is actually great for the business. It is literally us testing gear to determine if it's going to get the stamp of approval from us to go into a BattlBox to send to our tens of thousands of customers. So it's great from a marketing advertising perspective. It's a commercial for us. Now, it is Netflix, and I don't think the world would really want to watch us going through the actual testing. It's not as exciting. We don't jump and throw stuff out of helicopters, but that does make for good TV. So it's just the added reality TV spin on it to make it more exciting. You've got to blow some stuff up.
And I mean, that's a good marketing lesson in general, just that if there's a way to be larger than life in order to stand out in a way that makes sense, then why not go for it, right? And if there is even if the Netflix show didn't exist and you just had your YouTube channel, which I saw you have like 620,000 plus subscribers, even if it was just a YouTube channel, why not blow stuff up, right? Why not make it fun and make it something where it can go viral and that people will want to share it? And so you've been through this whole journey and all these ups and downs and selling the company and buy it back. And it's always fun to talk about the struggles, the errors, the mistakes, the failures, things like that. So what do you have to say about just like a stressful or emotional kind of failure you've had along the way?
So one of the first failures, and you see people still do it when we talk about when people want to have an e-commerce business and they're thinking about which way to go, right? You see this all the time where they have one single lead source channel, typically Facebook, or Facebook/Instagram. So we did that. It was pure naivety. We didn't know any better. Starting this company, we're gonna do some online advertising. We're gonna advertise on Facebook. So from February 2015, when we launched, to Labor Day, we were only advertising on Facebook. So 99.9% of our paid traffic and in-turn customers were coming from Facebook. Well, we're going into Labor Day weekend, and it's like 6-7 o'clock. We're going to have the biggest weekend we've ever had. We're in scale mode. It's going to be great. We're having a sale. Like, conservatively, we were going to crush every previous weekend. And around 6 or 7 o'clock, we start getting notifications in our phone, and all of our ads are getting canceled or declined. And then we get this one notification that our ad account has been suspended. So we went from this, in 2015, it was our first year. We did about 4 million in revenue. And at that point, we have a couple million in revenue in a very short period of time. So there's growth here. There's scale. And we went to zero literally immediately because we didn't know any better. And it was naivety. We weren't diversified in our lead sourcing. There's so many different platforms and ways to advertise. Facebook for a lot of brands works really, really, really well, right? But you can't put all your eggs in one basket. Now we got super, super fortunate. Middle part of the following week, again, our community, we're desperate at this point. We're asking our community, like, it's not easy to get someone on the phone with Facebook. And we're asking our community, hey, do you have any ideas? Do you have any help? One of our customers works at Facebook. He's a few cubicle rows over from the manual auditing team that did this. And he's like, well, I'm going to walk over there and like see if I can get you an answer. And like within an hour, we were back up and running. So we got fortunate there, and then we were able to advertise again and then make it a priority to start advertising on other platforms and have reach outside of Facebook. But it was a scary moment. And it's unfortunate we had to go through it to experience it. But anyone listening to this, like, if you have a great business and you're advertising on one platform specifically, at least try the other ones. They might not all work. Most probably won't work. Some, maybe they'll all work, but you have to diversify. And it seems simple to say now, but there's so many e-com businesses that are not doing it. They're just 100% dependent on a single platform.
And how do you reconcile being either like too focused or too diversified? Because like that, it makes total sense that in hindsight, you say, we had this near miss or near hit with the Facebook collapse with the Facebook ads. And so that's like a lesson to go and like set up on other platforms. But like there's that problem, like, kind of almost like a mind game with yourself where you're like, well, I need to be like focused and all in and give the Facebook ads the attention it needs. And not be like, thinking about other platforms and have my time divided. So do you ever think about that? Or does it ever just drive you crazy of like, am I being spread too thin or too focused in some areas?
Yeah, I think it goes to just the importance of building a good team as you try to do this, because you can't do it all yourself. Right. And just to clarify, when I say team, you might hire a person full time that is good at specific platforms, or you can do what we do and we leverage an agency, and leveraging the agency is, for us right now, it's probably pretty close on what makes more financial sense, to have a small team internal or an agency. But the beauty of an agency is just that, right? They have a guy that knows Facebook, they have a guy that knows TikTok, they have a guy that knows Google search, and maybe it's the same person for a couple of them, but typically it's not. So I think you leverage that so you don't have to worry about it.
And that makes a lot of sense, how when you refer to a team, it doesn't necessarily have to be a full-time employee. You can just hire an agency and they're someone kind of off there in the periphery doing the side project that you check in on. And so that you can kind of have your cake and eat it too in that way, where you have these results, but it doesn't necessarily require so much of your attention. And what I'm always really impressed with e-commerce guys such as yourself is like the attention to detail and the never dropping the ball, because like you sort of can't drop the ball, right? With all these like this massive scale and these huge numbers, if you stop looking at your numbers for even a short period of time, or if someone's not watching that, that's total catastrophe. And so it seems like from our conversation here, you mentioned a lot about how the community and just sort of like communicating and respecting people and making time for people is so important. Like you even mentioned, like, something about like an hour a day or just going back through the community. And so Do you have any like tricks and tips for staying consistent with people? Are you one of those people that like, do you block time for that? Do you say like, I need to talk to 100 people a day? Like, what do you have as far as staying solid and consistent with people?
So my calendar gives probably 99% of the population would give them anxiety if they saw it. I live and die by my calendar. It's blocked off, and that time is allocated to that. It's non-negotiable. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. There could be a fire drill tomorrow morning, and I'm gonna have to reach out to my 11 o'clock and say, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Like this is on fire over here. Let's please reschedule." But I do my um absolute. I try as hard as I possibly can just to stick to the calendar, and that allows time for everything deemed important.
I love it. So schedule that time. And you always hear about these things like even scheduling the free time or scheduling thinking time. And it was only until a couple of years ago, John, that I thought that scheduling the calendar was like limiting your freedom, but it seems like it's the opposite. And I used to think that it was either like, well, if my calendar is free, I can just do whatever I want. But then the reality is that if you don't schedule those things, then other things and other people will schedule for you, and then that's the opposite of your freedom. So it took me personally like many years to get out of that mindset that it's not about an empty calendar, it's about the calendar that you choose. And as you said, it's sort of a best stab at it, a best guess. You fill up that calendar knowing that like some surprise emergency might happen. You might have to shift things around, but at least fill up that calendar. And so there's been like, I have so many ideas now swirling around in my head, but what am I not asking you? What would you like to share with us about like yourself, your company, your successes? What should we know that I haven't even thought to ask?
So really friend of mine that I'm so excited about, like at the moment, as of right now, is so we're next month we're sending out our 100th mission. We call our boxes missions. So it's pretty cool for a bunch of reasons. It means we've been around for 8 years, and that we have all these customers that have so many have stayed with us the entire way. We wanted to do something special for it. So we decided to go for a couple reasons. One, it's going to be great content. Two, it truly is going to foster and build the community. We wanted to do something for our customers, so we didn't announce it. So we renew our customers on the 15th. So 8 days ago they renewed for the upcoming Mission 100 box. So later that day we had teased some stuff, but we didn't give any details. Later the day after the renewal, we dropped a video explaining that about 500 of the boxes are going to have some of our vendors shipped us about $35,000 worth of extra gear to put in them. So 500 boxes are going to have just some extra stuff, on average $70 worth of extra gear that they're just getting for free. But 5 of the boxes are going to have golden tickets in them. And if they have a golden ticket, think literally Willy Wonka style. We're going to fly them to an undisclosed location. They're going to hang out with us that night. That following morning at 8 a.m., they're all going to meet us outside the hotel. We're going to get in a bus, going to drive about 2 hours into a rural area where this can legally occur. And we're going to put them one at a time into an actual tank. And they're going to shoot that tank downrange at a target. And if they hit that target, we're going to give them $100,000.
Oh man.
Now, here's the cool thing. The first thing when I tell people that, they're like, wow, what a great sales tool this could be, right? We announced it a few hours after the renewal. You sign up for BattlBox today, you're not getting Mission 100. We wanted to truly do this for our customers. We want to hopefully have one of them hit this target and get $100,000. And I'm just so excited about that for like multitude of reasons. The opportunity of someone getting 100,000, the opportunity that we're going to get to shoot tanks, which is to me just beyond cool. And then we're having our vendors out there. We're going to obviously have these customers out there. We're going to have after the day and we take everybody to dinner, we're going to have a beer with BattlBox event. So everybody in that surrounding area will invite them to come hang out with us. It's just going to be a really fun day. So I'm most excited about that.
How did you even develop an idea like that? Because like you said there, like it's it would be really easy to be lazy with something. So to be like, okay, here's a cool idea, and just be lazy and just only think about it for a little while and be like, oh yeah, we'll use this to drive new signups. But you have all these kind of special like rules in place and things where you're like limiting it on purpose, so that way other parts of the offer are even, you know, more popular. So like, how did you develop that idea? Is it a matter of like thinking it through over time, or like adding to it? How did you create all of that?
It's a monster and it just kept growing. So it started in January. We we started to hear buzz, people with, I don't want to say unrealistic, but unrealistic expectations of what they were expecting Mission 100 to be. Like some of the things they're, hey, you should put this in there. Well, we put that in there and we sent it out to everyone. Like we would be out of business because like we spent, like that's not possible. We're at the end of the day, we're a business and we have, you know, a lot of people that depend on us. Like you can't do that. So, but we were like, we want to do something. Our CFO was at a conference and it was he passed a booth that was a company that was like, you can come see us and shoot tanks, and it's a cool like team bonding experience or great content experience. And he grabbed the little flyer and he was telling me about it, and we're like, oh, we could do this would be a cool thing to do for content, blowing stuff up. And then it just morphed. At the same time, we were hearing, you know, our customers wanting something big for the upcoming 100th mission. And it just kind of morphed into that. And then talking with the tank people and then talking with everyone internally, and then just kept growing. And we started telling our vendors about it and they were excited and they wanted to be a part of it. So we started doing sponsorships. It's just continued to grow. And even though everything's pretty firm, I'm sure we'll keep adding cool things to it. We had a call this morning with a company that is in the similar e-com space that just happens to be located near where we're going to be. And we told them about it and they're like, oh, well, we'd love to come and we'll bring this. And we're like, okay. I think when we're telling people about it, they can tell like that we're genuinely excited that this is like such a cool opportunity that it's almost a little contagious. And it's made this idea, continued ideation and building into craziness.
Yeah, and just getting out of control, but in a good way. So
Right.
contagious, genuine excitement and
Yeah.
continuous ideation. And then just throughout this, that whole idea of involving other people and relationships and the feedback loop and being open to ideas, no matter how crazy, and being like, well, the buzz around the forums is this, but maybe we can't do that crazy, but something similar. It leads to this other idea. And then because we're doing it at that location, you invite the people nearby, and this other company that's also nearby talks to us. It's just, so you have such an amazing and crazy life. And
It's so much fun.
yeah. And so if someone wants to be part of this and join in on the fun and the community and BattlBox and find out what you have going on, what's the call to action here? What's the next step?
I mean, you can Google or go to battlebox.com to see more about the brand. I like to, we're big into the BattlBox community, but me personally, I'm big into the fellow e-commerce community, and talking about what's working, what's not working, kind of, opening up the robe, if you will, on strategy. More importantly, also sharing things that don't work. Because I think you're inundated with all of these success stories, and the reality is most are not, right? And yeah, we've had some successes along the way, but we've had way more failures. So I like to highlight things that aren't going well, not in a negative way, but just because we can learn from those. So I have a blog, onlinequeso.com, where I outline things that are working, but also things that are not working. And then I'm probably most active on the least popular platform of LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. I think I'm the only person.
I've been big on LinkedIn for about the past year or so, even though sometimes you open that front page and it looks like Tony Robbins' notes app with just like only successes, which like is fun for a while, but can get kind of boring, right? They call that toxic positivity. But then when you talk about the failures and how those led to successes, or you stop the failures right away, I think that's a much more interesting journey and a lot more relatable, especially because you figure that the people who are reading and learning from that are on that same path where they're experiencing those failures. So if it's 100% successes, you're like, well, is this really someone who gets me, or I can learn from? So you say onlinequesto.com and John Roman on LinkedIn, but most importantly, BattlBox, and then Southern Survival on Netflix is that reality show where, I mean, even just looking at that YouTube trailer, it looks like so much fun. I might just choose a random episode and watch that, because I'm looking at I'm not even much of a reality show person, but I'm like, what the heck is this from an e-commerce brand? And so battlebox.com, go there right now. And as we're finalizing our conversation here, John, it's always fun to think about like a profound quote or lesson or advice that you wish you'd gotten, say, 20 years ago. So to put you on the spot, do you have anything just really profound and final to tell us as far as like quote, lesson, or advice you wish you'd gotten?
You did put me on the spot with this. I think I would go with just a way and outlook in general. And I think it's that in order for you to win, others don't have to lose. And I try to almost make that a North Star of mine, if you will. And being, we have a conference next week, and I'm looking forward to it because I want to talk shop, but I don't want to be guarded, right? I want to truly like dive in and share the details of stuff. I think you don't see that a lot. And it's because people are guarded because they think that, only they can win. And I think it's just a horrible mindset. And if you understand that everyone can win, I think it's just a good way to take on business and just life in general.
I agree completely. Non-zero-sum thinking, abundance mindset, and a rising tide lifts all boats. And so, as John said, so how do we phrase that exactly? In order for you to win, others don't have to lose. All right. And so with that advice, head on over to battlebox.com. We'll see you there. And thank you, John, for being generous with your failures and your advice. I appreciate you very much.
Thanks so much for having me.